Moreno sparkling wine. We can't call it champagne. They're here in California. It's Moreno, Beverly Hills, Las Vegas, Moreno BHLV. And if you haven't had a glass of the champagne yet, I suggest you go and try it. It's really lovely. So thank you to our friends at Moreno. And before we actually start talking to our keynote presenter, Chuck Eiler, who I'm so excited to have here with us tonight. Chuck has been in this industry for a long time and has seen many changes. I want to turn it over to our friends at swissnex, and they're going to introduce and talk a little bit about the wonderful game exhibits that are all around us tonight. So Andrea, thank you.
Thank you, Beth. So welcome to all of you. We're very happy to have you all tonight for this Transmedia meetup that we are hosting for the third time. And really excited to hear Chuck Eiler tell us more about the future of gaming and entertainment. So swissnex is an open house connecting the dots between Switzerland and California in the fields of art, science, education and innovation. And we are especially thrilled to have this beautiful exhibition in our space, showing the best projects of students from 3 universities, 2 Swiss and 1 Californian, so Geneva University of Art and Design, Zurich University of the Arts, and UCLA Game Lab. And also all the students, the Swiss students that are here tonight are going to head to LA next week to do a workshop at the Game Lab, which is really great. Also, the Swiss games are not only to be seen here, but also at GDC, where 5 studios are showing their work, and also 1 has been nominated for the IGF Awards. So go and have a look. Without further delay, I will pass the mic to Douglas Stanley, who is an artist and professor at Geneva University of the Arts and in the master program of media design. So have fun and play.
Okay, great. I'm just going to keep this really quick. I want to pass the mic over. So, hi, welcome. Yeah, we worked hard on this exhibit. A bunch of students are here, so after the talk, we'd be really happy to present all the different works. What I have on my back here is a work from the UCLA Games Lab. We're working at the Geneva University of Art and Design. And let me just quickly sort of point out a couple of students. You can raise your hands. We've got, well, just raise your hands, go ahead. And we've got Marion and Benjamin and, well, anyway, I can't really see them all that well. But since this is a transmedia event, there are 2 works just very quickly that I wanted to point out. There's Marion Barret has an interesting book that you can ask her more about. Instead of presenting a game on a screen, she's actually brought a user's manual of a game, and there's an interesting twist, and you're going to have to use the flashlight to discover that interesting twist. And then we have another work here that I think also might be interesting to people thinking about these questions of cross-media. And if you could just give us just a brief little sentence description, and I'll translate for you.
Sure. Hi guys, I'm Baptiste. My project is Binary Land. It's an interactive comic paper book. There is made of 36 pages and 22 gameplay inside the book. You start to beginning the reading and you start to read on the book, and then when you see a frame picture, you can continue the story on the smartphone, and then you can play with the main characters and their environment, and it's like this, yeah.
And so then you can go back and forth from paper to book and sort of follow the story as it moves from the 2 different mediums. So we've got a lot of work like that. There's also some UCLA Game Lab students here. And we'll be opening up this door after the talk, and so make sure you check out some of that work. Okay? So let me hand the microphone back over.
Thank you. And I want to say a few things about the students that are here. I came to the opening night on Tuesday, and I am so impressed with all of the exhibits that are here. There is not an Angry Bird imitator in the bunch.
Wow.
And I'm so pleased to see that our students, that the young people that are coming into this industry are being innovative, they're being socially conscious, they're being so inventive and creative with what they're bringing to bear. And I think that that's one of the things that we in the games and creative industry are always looking for, is free thinkers who are going to have to really move the needle. And we think that games and entertainment can actually even solve world problems. And so we're looking forward to these young people getting into the industry with us. So I encourage you all to check out every single one of the 24 exhibits that we have. Many of them actually cross the boundaries of what we consider transmedia. They're no longer just a single source game. They go across multiple screens and multiple venues, and so I encourage you to check out what these people have put together for us. And so with that, I actually, we titled this event The Future of Games and Entertainment, and I really personally love the idea of bringing these youngest of game developers together with people like me who have been here forever, and Chuck and I who have been around this industry also for a long time. Come on out. I'm so pleased to be able to bring tonight to this group Chuck Eiler. I'm going to tell you a little bit about his background, and then we're going to run through some slides. But Chuck has been in every aspect of media, from animated television programs to special effects in films. He was on the Academy Award-winning team with young Sherlock Holmes at ILM. He made Mighty Mouse back in the day.
Wow.
Started at Atari when Atari was just getting started, and now is one of the head art directors at Disney Playdom. So he's very much a transmedia artist. And the best way to predict the future is to invent it, but it's also to look back on the past and understand where we're going, what the trajectory is going to be. So with that, let me turn it over to Chuck.
Well, thank you. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay in the back? Yeah. All right. Very interesting to be here. In order to put this together, I had to look at my whole career in high speed. So this is art school. I was talking to the professors here back up. The pipe drawing there, my art teacher really liked drawings that were drawings and then turned into reality and then turned back into a drawing again. And most of us figured that out, and so we would always do that in our drawings. So the pipe is an example where there's the drawing in the back and then it turns into a real pipe and it's a drawing. All right. This is when I was in Ann Arbor and I was starting to do silk screening. I started to do t-shirts, and these are 3 of the t-shirts I did. So this is my early professional beginnings.
Blue, go blue.
Yeah, at the University of Michigan. This is silkscreen stuff, and then this bottom image is from my personal film called Earthly Beings. This is the brain at the end. Once I went to LA and I decided I had to get into the animation business, I got to work on Flash Gordon for Filmation and draw things like Emperor Ming and female villains. There's Flash. I also worked on Brunhilde for Fabulous Funnies, and here's a little Mighty Mouse. This is what the drawings looked like before they were inked and painted. And then they were interviewing for animators to move up to San Francisco, which I thought was a wonderful idea, and to work on the movie Plague Dogs, which was the sequel to Watership Down, but with dogs. It's really depressing. Has anybody seen Plague Dogs? It's a really depressing movie. You actually care about the dogs. I describe it as a football game where your team loses and then gets shot. It's like they're cool dogs and they're having a hard time, and anyone could rescue them, but it doesn't happen, and then they drown. I thought this is the saddest movie I've ever heard about, and I'm working on it. But in working on the Plague Dogs, as things go well and surprises happen, I met the people that ended up going to ILM and said, hey, we're at ILM and we need help, come help us. So I got to do things like electrocute Dennis Quaid, which was really fun. There's another sad story. I was working on this scene, and the editor and I were talking, and we said, what would really happen if you touched that weapon? And the art director said, nothing, it's a prop. And we were like, oh. Also got to work on one of the weirdest movies ever made, Howard the Duck. On YouTube, there's 10 embarrassing scenes from Howard the Duck that are totally embarrassing. But it was interesting work, and I got paid for it. I also got to make Dennis Quaid have lots of things come out of his head and electrocute him again in inner space. This was the scene. The technology at that time, we worked on 22 field paper, so it was just huge sheets of paper. It was like HD animation, but with a pencil. And these lines on here are actually drawn in pencil and then optically printed on top.
Do you guys know what a pencil is?
You've heard of them? Yeah, I heard of that. This I showed John Lasseter's scene because I couldn't find my scene, but I did the ice cracking and some shadow work. This is the very famous scene where the very first computer graphic scene in the movie. And then up above that is, from Batteries Not Included, we had to do all the shadows for all those robots. So they were all hand-drawn shadows. It's very thankless work. If you do it right, nobody can tell. So after that, I saw people I knew at the parties, and they seemed sort of calm and well-rested, and I asked them what they were doing, and they said they were working at Atari Games. And I went, oh, that's interesting. So I went down to visit them, and I was the 7th animator hired at Atari. Engineers were just figuring out that they couldn't do all the graphics themselves, so they were willing to share it with us. And it was wonderful because they thought everything we did looked so real. They were like, wow. That was so cool. So this was a game called Thunderjaws. It was the first game I worked on. And this was the very first character I worked on, which was a bionic wolf. And my assignment was he needs to walk, turn front, jump, bite, and death. And I said, that's like really bad haiku. But the thing about this is every image of this character, so this is the whole life of the character in the game. So the cool thing about video games at that time was a total melodrama. You had to do the attack, the dodge, and then the death scene for your character. So for a spider robot, I did the quivering leg. It was really fun. What I liked about video games compared to working at ILM at that time is that at ILM the script was written, there was a drawing for what the scene was supposed to look like. It was pretty confined work. With video games, they were kind of making it up as they went along, and they'd say, we need an enemy. And I'd go, how about a spider robot? And they'd go, sure. So it was 8th grade study hall heaven. In those days, games were like 200,000 maybe total to make, so it wasn't big stakes. And Atari was making money hand over foot, so it was just a blast. This character, when I finally saw it in the game, the engineer said, your character's in, do you want to see it? And I said, sure. It was a side shooter. So I saw the wolf coming and I shot, and my shot didn't hit it because I was too high. So then I ducked and I shot at him, and he jumped over my shot and killed me. And I was like, how could this happen? She goes, the engineer Natalie said, yeah, it's kind of like your own kid becomes a highway patrolman and gives you a ticket. But I was totally hooked from that time on, because in everything else, you plan it and you do it, and there it is. With a video game, you make a set of rules and a set of possibilities, and then you can be surprised by what happens. And that's what hooks me on video games and interactive media. So, to take this to new heights, this is the next game we made. And for this, we actually rotoscoped real people and put them in the game. This gal, Angel, we had a woman on our team, Sharon, who was helping Angel get dressed. And we didn't know this, but she was telling her, you don't have to do this. You know, you don't have to do this. And Angel was telling Sharon, I want to do this. It's okay. I want to wear the leather and like kick people. So she did it. We made a game called Batman. This is, below here is what drove the game. It was basically a custom Apple IIe was what an Atari arcade video game was. And all the graphics were on EEPROMs, and we would have to burn those, and they couldn't be changed when we were done. So the entire game runs on that circuit board in the bottom. this was a really fun game to work on. This was Steel Talons. It's an arcade game, and it's side by side. You fly 2 helicopters and fight against each other. And it's kind of confusing because your spatial orientation is changing all the time, and this is another example of how you can be surprised by what happens in a game. But I was playing against Glenn McNamara, who was a really deadly killer helicopter pilot, and we were chasing each other around, and he got me, and I went, darn it, Glenn got me. And as I was falling, I hit him and killed him and took him out. I was like, yes! And I'd never seen that happen, but it was a possibility because that was how the logic worked.